And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman, where we speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon to be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. So the news is out all over the place. Is the stock market going to hit a new high, an all-time high? It's been over 2 years, right? January the 3rd, 2022. It's a little more than 2 years since we've last seen a high. In fact, the stock market has been, I guess you can say, treading water for the last 2 years. It didn't because it dropped a lot and then it went right back up, but we're in the same place we were over 2 years ago. So when is the stock market going to hit a high? I don't know. Believe it or not, I don't have the answer to that one. I know you're shocked, but you know what? Nobody has the answer to that one. Interesting. Ben Carlson, who works at Ritholtz Asset Management, speaks about this. And he says, quote, "The market is within spitting distance of new highs, but stocks have gone nowhere for almost 2 years. We're a little less than 4 years into the 2020s, and half of those years have seen no new highs, but there have already been plenty of them this decade. Here are the number of new all-time highs by decade going back to the 1950s. And what you see from that is there were the 90s, right? There were like 310 new highs, but then in 2000, there were only 13 new highs. And so far in the 2020s, we've had over 103 new highs. What does that mean? I don't know. He says the stock market is erratic. So some decades we get lots of highs, while others we get virtually none, very few. Right? He says, this was written a little bit long ago, but my calculations, we're over 500 trading days without a new high for the S&P 500. For other indices, it's even more than that, right? If you go down to the small cap indices and stuff, indices like that, we're way, way away from that as well. He also says, interestingly enough, that it's the fifth longest streak since 1950, right? The previous longest streak was in 2007 through 13 was 1,375 days. So hopefully we don't get to that, right? We're not even halfway there. He says, the craziest thing about those other streaks is how close they were in proximity. In each instance, you had a downturn followed by a brief reprieve bull market and then an even bigger downturn in short order. Both periods saw the stock market more or less tread water for 13 years. What does any of this mean? Okay, I don't know. To me, believe it or not, it really means nothing, because you shouldn't invest, right? Ultimately, when the all-time high comes, it's going to come, right? And we know if you're investing for the long term, it's going to come a lot. How do I know that? Because over time, stocks, historically, again, past performance is no indication of future results. But historically, the stock market has gone higher, which means, right, if it keeps going higher, it means it's ultimately making new market all-time highs, right? We're always around the high, plus minus percentage points, right? Because over time it's going higher. So I don't really care if we make a new high this week or if we make another high in 2 weeks, because you should only be investing in the stock market if you have a long-term horizon. Okay, I got a call today from somebody, believe it or not, who wanted to know, the first question is, what are your fees? Okay, so once I hear that, I already know this is not going anywhere. But he says, yeah, I'm getting married soon. We're buying a house in he was saying in the summer of 2025. When they finish school, they're going to buy a house. So I said, you've got like a year and a half. He goes, yeah, I figured I'll just put it in the S&P 500. I said, why don't you just put it in the bank? Right? You don't know what's going to happen in the next year and a half. I know I'm pretty confident in the next 35 years, the stocks will probably go higher rather significantly, and over time, again, based on historical numbers, your return should be okay. I do not know what's going to happen in the next 18 months, okay? And to put your house money, your down payment money, into the stock market in any variation, no, well, the S&P 500, that's safe. Well, it's safe until it drops by 35%. Then it's not so safe anymore, is it? It's probably a pretty dumb idea, okay? So if you're watching, I was much more polite on the phone call. But if you're watching this, Mr. Caller, you'll know that it's not a good idea to put your money in to the stock market if you're buying if all the money is going to be used to buy an apartment in 18 months. Bad idea. So what have we learned here? Who cares if the market is an all-time high? Okay, if it's not an all-time high, invest more, because ultimately, over decades, it's going to be at an all-time high and you'll be richly rewarded, probably. Again, past performance is no indication of future returns. Okay, so you should only, number one, invest in stocks, A, if you can actually lose money, and if you have that money to lose. And number two, if you have a long-term horizon. If you don't have either one of those or both of those, you're better, you'd be better suited to invest in CDs, bank deposits, leave your money in money market right now, which is yielding decent amounts. Maybe put your money into short-term government or corporate bonds, but stay away from stocks. Okay, do yourself a favor so that you won't have to see, oh my God, we're 500 days away from the last stock market high. You know what? It's irrelevant. Who cares? You only care if you're on the wrong side of that historical phenomenon, right? Because you didn't give yourself enough time horizon, or because you desperately can't afford to lose the money, and the fact that you have not made any money in 2 years is crushing you, okay? Those people are suffering. People who are in it for the long term don't even know until I pointed it out that we've passed 500 trading days since our last market high. It's just not so important, okay? Take a breath. Anyway, you've been tuning in to the Aaron Katzman Show. We speak to your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.